morning, everyone. My name is Rachel Hewerman. I'm the Director of Alumni Relations, and we are on our last coffee break of this session, but we're really excited to have the School of Education with us today. So I am just a couple of housekeeping things. We are recording this on Zoom, so if you have any issues with your audio or anything like that, there's some directions in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen so that you can kind of fix your audio and make sure you hear us all right. If not, this is being recorded and will be added to your website. At the bottom of your screen, you should have a Q&A option and also a chat option. So if you think of any questions throughout the session or just kind of want to chat in, you are more than welcome to. My name's Rachel. Like I said, I handle all of the alumni engagement, so all of the events for our alumni and things of that nature. And so I'm going to pass it off to Dr. Scheffler and let him introduce himself.
Well, good morning, everyone. I appreciate you being here, and I'm glad I could be here. And welcome my colleague and Associate Dean, Dr. Jill Hutcheson. My name is Anthony Scheffler. I'm the Dean of the School of Education. I've been here, gosh, just at 2 years, so I'm still relatively new compared to many of our faculty and staff. My background is, as you might guess, education. I've been in higher education almost 30 years, and I did teach actually in the elementary schools in inner city New Orleans and in deep rural Louisiana for almost 10 years. So I have some experience in that regard. So it's been an adventure and an exciting one during my tenure here, having had experiences at a number of universities prior to this. So glad I'm here. It's a great place to be. Look forward to the interview, and hopefully you'll submit some questions, which we'd love to answer them. Jill, you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Jill Hutchison, the Associate Dean for the School of Education. Really proud to be working with such a great group of fellow educators. I've been in the education business, so to speak, for about 30 years. I taught at the elementary level, actually taught all grades K through 8, and then became a psychological examiner, which is representing for grades K through 12. After serving as an elementary administrator, I was really fortunate to be able to retire and become a full-time employee at Lindenwood. So I am the Associate Dean and have been the department chair as well as the Assistant Dean for Initial Teacher Ed. So it's really a wonderful role for me and helps me continue to be in the School of Education, working with teachers, and occasionally getting out into classrooms without still teaching. So I'm really happy to be here. Looking forward to your questions.
Thank you both. We're very excited to kind of get to know you a little bit more, get to know what the School of Education is going through during this time. I know that things have changed quite drastically over the past couple of months. So I'd really just kind of love to know, what does the School of Education look like? You know, how many students do you have? What are some of the initiatives that you're working on? Kind of some immediate things that you've been doing during this time.
Well, I'll say, you know, oftentimes when we say the School of Education, we typically think of teacher education. But in fact, although that is at the heart of the School of Education, we also have a very large population of students who are associated with our clinical side, where we have counseling, school counseling. We have, as Jill mentioned, our psych examiner program. We also have school counseling and professional counseling. And then we have a relatively new program, which is behavioral analysis, so we refer to it as BCBA, which is a rapidly growing service to the schools, but also services to the clinical community in general. And we have social work as well. On the other side, or the other end, we have the administration program. So we have administration programs for school administrator and leadership in general, all the way from the master's through the doctoral programs. So it's quite a bit more of a texture than people typically imagine. It isn't just teacher education, but teacher education is, as I said, it's our heritage and it's at our heart. We have currently about 1,200 majors in the school. And now that doesn't include all the non-majors, people that are just picking up certifications. We obviously, as you might expect, have a big business in certifications. There's all different kinds of certifications that come out of the state, and then there are certifications coming out of professional agencies and some of the other areas. So we have several hundred non-majors who are picking up courses and necessarily complete certifications. Our network of alumni, and generally speaking, is about 14,000. They're in 26 countries. They're 56, or all 50 states. And we have certified teachers who teach in about 35 different states. So we're quite spread out. Between the years of 2015 and 2020, we awarded a total of 3,435 degrees. And about 2,800 or more of those were actually graduate degrees. So our graduate population is actually far larger than our undergraduate population. And our undergraduate degrees were around 600 that we awarded during the same time. So we are often considered, again, teacher education, initial teacher education in the schools, when in fact many of our students, if not most of our students, are actually graduate students coming back either in the clinical side, the administrative side, or adults returning to school who have previously completed a degree somewhere in something and either have retired or have decided they want to switch over to teaching, so they work on an MAT. We can tell you a little bit about some of the initiatives of the school, and Jill, you might want to jump in at this point, but we've got several going on. One of the things, I guess, frankly, we get accused of is trying to do too much, too fast, but that's just the nature of the business. Change occurs and we need to adjust to it, not just to adjust to it, but actually to be the group that is actually causing some of the positive change. So we've got a number of things that are going on, even in the midst of all this Corona craziness. We have just recently defined, and we'll be launching in the fall, what we're very excited about, and that will be the Innovation Center. So it's a center that is yet to be launched, but we have a space for it here, and we will have a space for it virtually. We're actually calling it the Center for Innovation and Insight. And it'll be a nucleus of a culture change that will facilitate new ways of thinking about problem solving using design thinking. It'll be vetting programs as they pass through, or vetting changes in programs to see that those changes are current. Joe, you might talk a little bit about the research side, some of the things going on, for instance, your Spencer grant submission.
Certainly, I'm glad to. While we're talking about initiatives, and Dr. Scheffler mentioned briefly that we have created a certificate for design and implementing K-12 e-learning, which is really important right now in the times where teachers are transitioning from the traditional on-the-ground teaching to developing online for K-12. But in terms of research, underneath the guise of the Center of Innovation and Insight, a group of us got together and wrote a grant reaching out for funding to research more about how education can respond to crises such as the COVID-19 situation. And we have a proposal in place, response to coronavirus, school leadership in time of crisis. So we're really looking forward to hearing back. It's a 5-month wait, and we submitted in April, so we're waiting patiently. That 5 months mark is coming up pretty quickly. But that spurred Dr. Rhonda Seifert-Mayhack and myself to do some individual research, and we sent out a survey. Maybe some of you who are currently teachers or administrators received that survey, and if you haven't completed it, we would really love to hear from you. The reason we sent the survey out was to find out how teacher education could do a better job of providing support and training to teachers coming into the field. COVID-19 will probably pass by, but there'll be something else. There'll be another reason why teachers may have to be teaching online. One of the ways is during snow days. No longer will schools be considering to close their campuses because of snow days, but they'll expect our teachers to teach online for 2-3 days in a row in order to keep their students working. When I was a new teacher, we closed my building for a week because of chickenpox. So who knows what's going to happen, but our teachers need to be flexible, nimble, and ready to take on the mantle no matter what happens. So that's what our research proposal was about. It's called Leading and Learning Through a Crisis, COVID-19. And we are just gathering data from teachers, administrators, as well as parents about how did it go? What do you wish you knew before you were cast into the role of teaching online? We've gotten a lot of response, and of course we're waiting for more. The survey is still open, so if you got a link to that and you haven't had an opportunity to respond, please do so, because we'd like to hear from you.
You know, I might add to something else we're doing, which is a way to be very responsive to the sudden needs of the school system. Is we've created, in a very short period of time, thankfully to a team of faculty who pulled together, is a type of boot camp, which we will be offering for over a week's time, beginning in, I think, August 24th, to almost 100 teachers. And it will give them the down and dirty basics of design, utilization, and tool familiarity and utilization of tools in order for them to become better prepared to deliver online coursework. And we'll hopefully, having gone through that kind of initial implementation, then open it up to more and more teachers around the system. We have quite a demand for it. As you might expect, there's a lot of teachers who, you know, they're familiar with it, but they haven't mastered those kind of skill sets. And suddenly the pressure is on to do the kinds of things that perhaps they thought they wouldn't have to do right away. So, and as Jill mentioned also, in the long run, we have now a standalone certificate of 18 hours in designing and implementing K-12 e-learning. They can come in and actually apply those 18 hours toward a master's degree. So it's a standalone certificate, or you can use it as both a standalone certificate and embed it into a master's degree. Pick up 15 more hours and you will have completed a Master's of Arts in Education. So we keep looking for those kinds of innovative ways to address the needs of our community by better serving our teachers and our clinical support group, as well as the administrative side of the house who have to coordinate all of this. So it's been a challenge, but it's given us the opportunity to exercise, or at least to test some of the ideas that we've had, and also to test our ability to be very responsive and to quickly respond to the needs of, in this case, the educational community.
I think that you both make great points of, I feel like a theme that has come out of all of these different conversations with these coffee breaks and just over time has been, you know, there are many things out there that we wanted to do, didn't have the time to do, couldn't collaborate just because everybody has so much going on. And COVID is not ideal, but it's breaking down some barriers and kind of allowed for new opportunities in a lot of ways. So that's kind of a theme that I've seen. It's been very hard and will kind of change these lives forever and kind of the way that we work forever, but at least that's one positive theme that's come out of it, and some good things. And it's nice to be able to test things out because everybody's in this position, you know, everybody's kind of testing out the technology capabilities and all of these things. So it's great that the School of Education is doing so much, and glad that we can share this information out to our students and our alums and anybody else viewing this video. Coming to the student side, so if students are currently at Lindenwood, haven't become a teacher or, you know, counselor, things of that nature, how have you kind of been helping students during this time? And how are you still recruiting students for your programs during this time?
Let me start, and then Jill, you fill in what I miss. The bottom line is what we did, and we made this decision early on before we got into too much procrastination about what to do. We made a decision to go online, and we've taken all of our coursework across the school and placed it into an online format. Now that doesn't necessarily mean it's all asynchronous. Much of our programming will be synchronous, so they will be meeting at a particular time. It'll just be electronic. That way we have so many of our students who are working. We have so many people who have to come in to the university from outside, that it poses some special challenges, and frankly, it also, you know, poses some potential health threats. So there are a lot of people who just weren't comfortable in that regard. We also have a number of students who will be living on campus, and they'll be fine, and faculty are available to them, and they'll be working in some cases online, but they'll also have the access to faculty if need be, and to our support advisors through ARC. So we're here for them. So it's not as if, the building's dark and no one's around. So we've tried to provide the support, the necessary support for students relative to their particular situation. So much of ours is online. That being said, however, we have a huge field presence, both in the clinical and the teacher education administration. Much of that will be we have developed in collaboration with the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. It will have a virtual alternative so that they will be able to accomplish what it is they're expected to accomplish, but it'll be done in a virtual setting. However, those individuals that have culminating experiences, for instance, student teaching or final placement in counseling or behavioral analysis, they will be out in the field at the schools or in the agencies. And that's important to us because the reality is whatever accommodations they're going to have to make, they're going to make just as the professionals they're working with have to make. So they need to be side by side with those professionals and learn how to make those accommodations. So they will, unless something dramatic happens and we just can't do anything at all, they will be right there working with the professionals in their area, modeling them in whatever format or whatever platform they happen to be using in order to accomplish their goals. So we're trying to make sure that all the students are accommodated. We want to make sure that above all, we're not compromising any kind of quality. We want to make sure the quality is as good or better now that we have these additional tools. So we have high expectations of our faculty and have equally high expectations of the students. I'll be really honest with you. We're not going to use COVID as an excuse. We'll make the accommodations necessary, but the work has to be done and the quality of that work won't be compromised. And that's our sincere intent, to make sure that the experience students have, regardless of what area they're in, prepares them adequately for the workplace. And that's something that we believe in above all else, is that they have the quality of experience so we're working very hard to make sure that those kinds of markers are in all of our courses. Markers of quality and expectations of quality are there. And we'll work together as a faculty and with our students to ensure that that continues throughout the semester. With regard to recruiting, we do everything we can in collaboration with, obviously, the enrollment services here. So we're always coming up with new programs, and we send out a lot of flyers. We do a lot of communication. One of the things that we've built is a pretty robust social media platform. We are approaching, and we would appreciate help in continuing to make this grow, 1,000 likes on our Facebook. We started out with, I think, maybe 20 2 years ago. So we're growing that, and we use that as a platform to put information out and to let potential students and the alumni know what's going on. We also created what we call The Lead, which is essentially a newsletter, which we publish at the beginning of each month, which has grown rapidly. And we try to put as much information as we can out, once again, to familiarize people, not just people that we want to recruit, but people who might know someone who wants to attend, to all our alumni as well, to let them know what's going on. We also send it out to a lot of other universities to show them what they wish they could do. So we send lots of information out. In fact, that's grown to a subscriber base of over 14,000 people. So, and that continues to grow. We'll be sending one out today, and we send it out first workday of each month. So anybody who isn't on that list and who would like to be, please shoot us an email and let us know, and we'll get you on there right away. Jill, you have anything to add to that?
I do have a few things to add, or maybe just elaborate on. First of all, while it may seem like a stretch, I want to point out that the faculty and many of our adjuncts in the School of Education have used this time to become more educated on how to teach themselves online and how to design courses for an online platform. it's a good thing for teacher educators to continue to learn and grow. So this is a new skill set that quite a few of the full-time faculty and the adjuncts have added to the repertoire, so we can model for our students what they're supposed to be doing when they are cast into that online teaching world. So that's really going to help them be excellent teachers and do a better job. I also want to point out that when we checked with the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education about regrouping our field work, we were trying to make sure that the load of student teachers that we have each semester would find a placement. So we didn't want to put too much expectation on our K-12 sites to the loss of our student teaching placements. So we are saving almost all of our opportunities in school buildings this coming semester for our student teachers, because the K-12 is really stressed right now, and putting extra and additional expectations on them by asking them to place every student, whether they're first semester or whether they're a student teacher, is a lot to ask of them. So we made a decision early on with DESI's agreement that we could modify those field hours. So I think it's important. It wasn't just a whimsical decision. It was really a study decision. We want our student teachers to get their opportunities to be in the buildings first. And also, we are continuing to recruit. We do lots of things in the recruiting arena. For example, many of us present at conferences, and that's a great opportunity for us to always be out there recruiting of undergraduates as well as graduate students. In this past spring, some of us attended the 4-year university night at St. Charles Community College, where we were reaching out to only education majors who are now finished at the community college, enticing them to come to Lindenwood. So that's a great opportunity for us to reach out and attract new students to our campus. And we share all of this that we're sharing today with each one of the events that we go to. We also went to Hazelwood's Consortium in the spring, a cadre of faculty, sitting on that board, helping them make decisions, but also representing the School of Education at Lindenwood. And another thing we did that was really new for us this year is we attended the Blackmail Educator Symposium in February, right before all of this started, but trying to really attract students with a diverse background to come to Lindenwood and join us. In fact, we have a really great diversity and inclusion committee who we just set that aside and made a group of faculty members who can represent the diverse population. And we understand that's really an important issue right now. So Lindenwood is on board with that. We also are involved in the First Generation Committee here on campus, and they will be having a bridge meeting this summer for students who are first generation. And it's been on the committee, it's really been a wonderful opportunity to understand the nuances of that first gen learner and how we can meet their needs. Last thing we do is we recruit to high schools. And the way that we're doing that is we have several standing dual credit programs that represent students who are either in Grow Your Own Teacher programs or in Educator Rising groups. So we can offer 2 or 3 undergraduate courses as dual credit at the high school, which allows them to bring in 9 or 10 hours with them when they come to campus. So we have several local school districts that we're working with on that. So that's one way that we really are out recruiting and supporting the School of Education and making sure that we're attracting new students to our programs.
I might add too, and elaborate really, our online preparation of our faculty or to teach online has really been a major effort, particularly since it's been ongoing for years, but we've ramped it up. Several of our faculty have, some on their own, some we've been able to help finance certificates, national level certificates in certain skill sets that will serve us well. So we're real proud of the fact that we now have a handful and a growing number of faculty who have national certificates in a variety of skill sets that are recognized across the country through national organizations, and they continue to do so, all the way from developing and implementing online learning to different levels of design thinking. So we continue to do the professional development relative to the needs, not only of the individual faculty person, but of the school and of the community we serve.
As a School of Education alum, I'm just continuously inspired by all the things that you're saying. Design thinking is very big and been talked about in a lot of different conferences. So I think we're kind of paving the way for, setting the standards and, really making it, Linen would stand out in a lot of different ways. So that's very exciting to hear. I'm curious on the alumni perspective, are there, you mentioned the social media and the lead newsletter and things like that. Are there any ways that alums can get involved with the School of Education, or are there any events during a normal year when we don't have COVID that alumni are back on campus or, doing different events with our students? What does the alumni interaction with the School of Education look like, and how can they get involved?
We certainly welcome the involvement. We are looking more and more to more formal mechanisms whereby they can get involved. One of those is, and Joe can elaborate more on that, but it's a tutoring center where we'll be providing tutoring to K-12 students, and it will be something that we're putting together now. We've been frankly a little delayed in the sense that the COVID issue has paused us, but we want to possibly get alumni involved in that. We also we are redoing our advisory council, our main one, and also some of the other ones within the departments to include more recent alumni and have a diversity of people participating in that. And I'll be very frank with you. One of the ways, not everyone can be here, or not everyone can, actively participate. In fact, most people can't, but they do look for ways to support us. And we will be putting up a development page soon. We've been working with that. And frankly, as you might expect, any gifts that any alumni can provide, and they can tailor those gifts and they can focus those gifts on certain types of initiatives that are going on, are not just greatly appreciated, but they truly make a huge impact. All universities right now are struggling a bit financially simply because of the demographic shift that has been going on for years with the number of students enrolling. But now with the health issues going on, it has impacted and will continue to impact not just the numbers that are enrolled, but the nature of that enrollment. And that, frankly, sometimes translates into a lack of dollars. So although the university is very healthy and it's able to accommodate, it oftentimes won't have the extra amounts of money that it could do use in the past to advance certain initiatives. But the School of Education has such a huge alumni base. And at the heart of that alumni base is an intent to do good. That's just the nature of the people who, in my view, go into education. Not that people that do good don't go into other areas, but we have a preponderance of the people who really want to make a difference. So we will welcome that, and we can do everything we possibly can to ensure that the gifts that are provided will be used wisely and efficiently to not just advance the school, but to make a difference in our mission to better serve the communities. I just can't think of a better place or a better way to serve the community, whatever community you're in, than ensuring that our clinical support is top notch, our preparation of teachers, both initial and advanced, and the preparation of our administrators is the best that possibly can occur and is very current. So we continue to look for ways, and we welcome volunteers or even ideas on how alumni might help and assist us, because we really can't do it without that kind of input. We're not an island at all.
So I'd like to piggyback on what Dr. Scheffler just said about the Tutoring Center. The Tutoring Center also is another way to provide field experiences for the students who are enrolled in differentiation and analysis and correction of reading. So we are intending to use students who are enrolled in those courses to provide the tutoring for K through 8 students in the area of reading. It's going to be supervised by a reading specialist, and that person, that faculty member, will oversee the tutoring aspect of it, but it will also help our students gain more expertise in how to teach reading, understanding how students learn and grow in the area of reading. And we're really looking forward to it. We have a committee working really hard on hammering out the details. Parking, for example, everyone knows that on campus parking is limited. So how are we going to approach that? We have a space already picked out, and we are getting ready to transport our Camp Read-A-Lot materials, and everybody knows about Camp Read-A-Lot if they are a Lindenwood alum. Those materials will be used in this tutoring center as well. So we're really looking forward to it. We have a great space, and we are starting to identify the faculty member who will be the director, so to speak, of that tutoring center. And it's just a really neat new way to approach how to provide field for students who are enrolled in those courses I mentioned, but also serve our community. We put our heads together earlier this summer. We said, you know what? I think that parents and teachers are going to see a deficit in students' reading ability because they've missed 3 or 4 months of reading instruction. So now we're going to be able to pick up that slack and get kiddos back up to speed by offering this tutoring. So it's really an exciting opportunity for us. Something else that goes really hand in hand with this is our literacy center. Our literacy center is going to be premiering hopefully when the fall semester begins, with a place to store our reading materials so students can check out materials, they can access literature books for children. If they're asked to write a lesson plan on a particular genre, how are they going to find a book? How do they find a picture book? Those are all going to be available for them in this literacy center, and they'll be able to check out materials and use them and return them to the center. So that's another new idea that's just coming to fruition. We're pretty excited about that as well.
I should mention too, as we talk, I recall different things. We've got so much going on occasionally, it just kind of comes a blur, but we've got so many good people who are heading those things up. I'm very confident in their success. But we are launching a new doctoral program in leadership, which ought to be, it's infused with the design thinking concept. It'll be entirely online. And it's, right now we are working through our HLC, that's our regional accrediting bodies, getting their approval as they review it. But it will be very exciting. There's a lot of new elements to it. It should be cutting edge and competitive around the country. We hope to have it launched this coming spring, depending on the timing of the approval from the regional body. If not, it will definitely launch the following fall. But we spent over a year in preparation and are continuing to define it and refine it. We also are going to welcome some new faculty, even in the midst of some financial challenges. The university has invested in new faculty, so we have 3 new faculty coming in. One will be heading up the teacher education / curriculum and instruction department, and we have a faculty person coming in behavioral analysis, and we also have one coming in professional counseling. So we look forward to their arrival, and once again, it enriches to have people coming in from different areas of the country with different levels of experience. It enriches our program, and it provides the diversity that we need to ensure that we address all of our students in a way that's meaningful to them.
As you're talking about the literacy center and things of that, it's also a good partnering opportunity potentially with those writing majors, those English majors, things like that. I think that alums kind of doing that interdisciplinary work could be really exciting for a lot of different alumni as well. And something that on the alumni relations side that we're kind of working on this year is really coming up with a system where we can start tracking, affinity groups, chapters across the country, mentorship opportunities. I know that all of the different academic schools, career services, student involvement, they do mentorship opportunities and things of that nature, but just a place where we can store all that information, organize it, and try to take away some of the back end work of Excel spreadsheets and manipulations and things that'll just kind of make everyone's lives easier. So that's something that we're pretty excited about and hoping to talk to all the academic schools and kind of find a platform that will work for everybody. So we're excited for those opportunities.
That's great.
Yeah. Well, we haven't had any questions come in, but I just wanted to take a moment and thank you both so much for taking some time out of your morning. I know it's early and we're gearing up for coming back to campus. Campus is reopened, but there's still a lot of work to be done and a lot of spaces that need to be redesigned to make sure that everyone is safe and healthy during the fall. So thank you both so much for taking your time out of your day to do this coffee chat, and really excited to post it on the website and just kind of get the word out for School of Education and continue to promote you all.
Hey,
Very good.
Rachel,
Well, thank you. It was a
thank you so
pleasure.
much. But Rachel, could I just take 2 more seconds?
Yeah,
You mention our Linden Teach program.
yeah, of
That
course.
is our paid internship program, and we have had so much success with that. Actually, it's a semester-long precursor to student teaching, where our students are actually serving as paid substitutes in the school buildings. Yet another way that the School of Education is partnering to the benefit of ourselves, but our students and also the districts. They are screaming for substitutes. So they are actually taking on our Linda Teach students for a semester, and not only letting them substitute, but also mentoring them, running them through a mock interview process, giving them feedback on their performance. So when they are moving to student teaching the following year, they are so good to go. And oftentimes they stay in the same building where they've been subbing for a semester. We have 100% placement rate for all of the students who have been involved in our Linden Teach program. And it's just amazing. We cannot get enough students to sign up for Linden Teach to reach out to all of the districts that are interested. We're doing the best we can. So we need help recruiting even more students who are willing to do this Linden Teach program. It's just amazing, and it's caught on like wildfires. Matter of fact, we have districts calling, when's it my turn? When are we gonna get some? So right now we have St. Charles, Orchard Farm, Francis Howell, Winfield, and Wright City. And we have calls that we are turning away. So we want to try to fix that because we don't want to turn anyone away. Anyway, thank you for the opportunity for us to share the great things that School of Ed is doing. And we look forward to meeting again with even some more good news.
Yes, most definitely.
Rachel, as you can see, we're excited about the things that's going on in the School of Education. We've got so many things planned for the future, and we would welcome the opportunity to share that excitement with our alumni and look for ways to partner so that we can make it even bigger and better. And appreciate the opportunity to share those with you today.
Yes, of course. Thank you both so much. Looking forward to partnering more. We can only be better and do better. So looking forward to that. And I hope everyone stays healthy and safe out there. And we will talk to you all soon.
Very good. Thank you.